We're here with Hilary Saunders, the CEO of Side, Chief Broker, co-founder. I love it. Hilary, tell us a bit about your history with Side and real estate.
So I started actually in real estate litigation. So I have my background in the legal world of real estate, and then moved on and became a broker for a big box company, and quickly discovered that they were hindering my ability to represent my clients in my flavor of, representation.
Yeah.
And so I ventured on my own, created my own brokerage and law firm in San Francisco, and was doing that pretty successfully and kind of hit a ceiling. And that was just serendipitous when I met my other two co-founders, Guy and Ed.
How'd you meet them, by the way?
Oh, this is a story. Guy basically he's so persistent, and he stalked me on LinkedIn until I finally gave in for a coffee.
Yeah.
And the 5-minute coffee turned into 3 hours because there was so much synergy and talking about how can we disrupt the industry and really put the top producer first.
Yeah.
How can we help them create their own business? How can we help women and minorities in particular be the owners, the CEOs of their own companies, and bring their flavor to their business?
I love it.
So we created Side, and we focus solely on the top producers who are already market share leaders in their community.
Yeah.
They already have a following. They have this brand, this unique client experience that they are producing for their sellers and buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And we let them elevate that to the next level. So they are not hindered by 4 corners of a box or a corporation saying you have to do it this color or this typeface, or
which is so needed.
It is.
And makes sense.
And similar to Final Offer in that it is transparent.
Yeah.
They are sharing with their communities and raising the bar on their communities in a way that is very transparent to the end consumer.
But you know what's crazy is that this is considered disruption. Like, how is this disruption? This seems like the norm. Like, any consumer is like, yeah, of course. Like, or anyone who is a badass agent should be front and center with their brand and everything, because that just makes sense.
Right. And I think part of it is the not understanding what an actual brand is.
Yeah.
When you ask somebody about their favorite brands, you have to dig a little deeper and figure out what they actually interpret the word brand to be.
Right.
And ultimately it goes on to what is that feeling and that lifestyle that you think you're getting from a big brand.
Yeah.
And if they can't answer that, then they actually don't understand what a brand stands for.
Right.
So it's a bit of education.
Sure.
But ultimately,
it always is education, right?
Yeah, 100%. Ultimately, it's about that unique experience that the end consumer wants.
Right.
And this is what I'm speaking about later this afternoon, is that the brokerage model is changing to follow what the consumer sentiments are.
Sure.
They want a unique experience. They want to know what they're getting into if they hire you or me.
Right.
They want to be able to look to our Instagram and say, I know exactly how she caters to her clients, and that is my flavor. And that is different from Joe Schmo down the road. He does it differently. And if, I fit in his box, then I would hire him. So it's a uniqueness.
So what do you think about the changing industry? What do you anticipate is next? How do you see technology fitting into that? What are you guys thinking?
I think it started with Zillow and Redfin when they were really pulling data and giving it right to consumers' hands.
Yep.
And it's evolving in what Final Offer's doing with making it even more transparent, and with what we're doing, which is allowing our partners to showcase their brands, their companies, and their unique flavors, and ultimately give back to the consumer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They're raising the bar in the industry. We're cutting out, and this is the controversial piece, is that I 100% believe, along with our entire, ethos of Side, that the part-time agent, which ends up being about 49% of people who hold licenses, only do one deal or none a year. Can you think about that?
But the people who ruined it for everyone, I feel like.
Right. Well, they need to go into referral.
Yeah.
Skedaddle. They need to go into referral status.
Yeah.
hand it over to the people who this is their primary job.
Yeah.
This is their passion for the industry.
Yeah.
And that is how we raise up the bar.
Yeah. How are you coaching your partners when it comes to, how to really show their value when it comes to being a buyer's agent?
That is a great question and a very hot topic at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is look at what you do on the listing side and really be able to articulate that your negotiation skills, your umpteen years in this industry, you have connections that if that deal goes sour or hits a bump in the road financially, you have those connections who can come in.
Yeah.
If you're an unrepresented buyer or working with an agent who does 1 or 2 deals a year, they do not have that experience. If you look at it this way, if you drive a gas car, would you go get your oil changed by someone who does 2 oil changes a year?
Right.
Or would you go to the one who does them on multiple times a week?
Right.
And that's just the oil in your car, let alone your biggest financial asset.
Totally. And I think there's a lot from a legal perspective. I mean, I heard James Dwiggins just for a minute when I was in there talking about like errors and omissions insurance and that you're not covered on both sides if you're not represented. I mean, there's a lot coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my legal brain,
I'm sure.
Well,
sure.
And this is another plug. Please do not represent yourselves as a buyer unless you are also a realtor. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
There are too many pitfalls. Use a trusted professional.
Totally.
They will ultimately save you, not just legally, but more than likely financially too.
Yeah. Do you think that agents will start adapting to change because of what's going on in the industry? Or do you think that fear will paralyze them? What do you think?
The cream will rise.
Yeah.
The top of the top will end up charging what they're worth, which is ultimately more than what they have been charging.
Sure.
The lower, chunk of people will disperse. They go into referral status, which is great. And ultimately, the caliber of agents will capitalize on the market share.
Yep.
And you'll see a big split.
Yeah. I think it'll be good in the end, honestly.
Oh, I'm excited. I
Yeah.
think it's wonderful.
I know.
I do think that the DOJ and whatever's going on
with that.
they really need to face the reality that they have screwed the minority and the first home buyer.
I mean, it's so sad.
It makes me sick.
Yeah, it really makes me sick too. And no one's really thinking very clearly about that. It's just this mission without thinking about the repercussions of it all.
Which I think we as the industry need to shine a big spotlight on that.
Yep.
And showcase how my VA client could be harmed by this or how I'm having to be uber creative. And that's where our value is.
Totally. Well, thank you so much, Hilary Saunders, co-founder of Side, for coming on today. I adore you. And next time we'll talk Love is Blind.
I love it. Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thank you.